Congratulations! You've been invited to donate a garment that represents you to your local museum. You've been given free rein to select something that is personal and important to you and that reflects your daily life. What would you choose? Hi, my name is Lindsay Smith with Exhibit Smith. I'm rethinking the way we save our stuff. I help people interpret, preserve, and better understand the objects that make up our world. If you have a lot of stuff, it might feel overwhelming. But believe it or not, I truly believe that artifact and heirloom preservation can be both easy and fun. In fact, I've developed a series of introductory level workshops on this topic and others just to prove my point. Learn more about them at exhibitsmith.com. Back to today's topic. A museum is developing an exhibit that features you and your daily life. You've been invited to donate a garment that best represents this part of you. You should choose something that tells the broad story of you. But what should you pick? First, let's think about what kind of things you've seen on display in the past. You've probably seen a lot of museum quality items on exhibit. I'm talking about rare objects that are in pristine condition, things that you can't believe look brand new, even though they are old and rare. You may have also seen items that are very well loved, objects that look worn and used, but tell a unique story. In my opinion, it doesn't matter if an artifact looks old and worn. In fact, it just helps to prove how vital the artifact was to the lives of its owner. That item has a past, and you can see it. And isn't that what it's all about? Depending on the museums you visited, you might have also visited museums that contain a little or a lot of each type of artifact. And many museums only display a small fraction of their artifact collection at any given time anyway. Okay, so you're excited and you go to the closet and open the door. You look over racks of t-shirts, sweats, business casual attire, and formal wear. You reach to the very back and yank out your wedding dress or your suit or tuxedo, your formal wear, and a sweater your grandmother knitted for you when you were a baby. You feel confused and overwhelmed. What garment truly defines you? So think about your own wardrobe. Many of us would instinctively grab their wedding dress or the handmade sweater. What about the prom dress that you only wore once? I mean, that's definitely museum quality. It looks like it just came right off the rack. Or perhaps you'd choose a suit you wore to a special event, or maybe something from your younger or thinner days. But this isn't a wedding dress or a prom dress or a young and skinny people exhibit. This exhibit is about you, all of you. Okay, so me, I wear a lot of maroon. I mean, a lot. Like, you can make fun of me for it. It's kind of a family joke how much maroon we actually have in our house. We even have a maroon car. Like, it's a little much. Oh, and by the way, I also like gray, olive, navy, plum, and surprisingly pink. In case you're in the market to get me something, hey. But perhaps in part due to my predisposition to maroon, there's a particular sweatshirt in my life that I used to wear a lot more than the rest. And I want to tell you about that today. And by more than the rest, I mean I wore it almost every day, summer excluded, for over a decade. Seriously, I'm being completely serious. About 12 years ago, we were living in central Iowa, surrounded by Iowa State University and University of Iowa fans. And if you didn't attend either school, you were expected to pick a side and buy the merch. My kids had spirit days at school, and they never had anything to wear. We weren't Iowa natives, and my husband and I weren't used to this. So instead, I opted to show off my own school spirit, and I ordered myself a University of Illinois sweatshirt. And I got my husband a University of Chicago sweatshirt. Fun fact, I'm wearing a University of Illinois sweatshirt right now. Go Illini. Also, I think I need to work on my fun facts, but I'll work on that. Anyhow, my husband's sweatshirt was bigger, like a double XL. I wanted it nice and big, and it was oh so cozy. So like any good spouse, especially a pregnant spouse, as I was at the time, I immediately adopted the giant cozy sweatshirt as my own, and I wore it constantly. Then our son was born, and my life revolved around bottles and diapers and honestly just not leaving the house for days on end. So, looking less than fabulous, I wore that sweatshirt every day. Then we had another baby, and that sweatshirt kept on going. As soon as I came home from wherever I had been, I just plop it on top of whatever I was already wearing. I even searched online for a duplicate just in case something ever happened to it, but I could never find the exact thing. So I was essentially a grown woman with a blankie. And over time, because of that, the sweatshirt became priceless to me. In the early years, I took a lot of staying at home with baby selfies while wearing the sweatshirt. Playing, nursing, napping, cuddling, cleaning, the shirt was always there. I cannot even tell you how many times I'd use the cuff of the sweatshirt to wipe a runny baby nose, and then I just roll the cuff up to hide the goo until I had a chance to change. If you don't have kids, you're probably completely disgusted by this. Sorry. If you do have kids, you probably understand. Ew. I'd also wander around the house picking up everything you can imagine, hashtag babies and hashtag toddlers, and stuff it in the sweatshirt's front pocket. Everything has been in that sweatshirt. Everything. Ew. As the years passed, I stopped taking photos of me in the sweatshirt, probably because it was a little weird to keep taking the exact same selfie over and over. Then, as time passed, I lost some weight and the sweatshirt fit like a blanket. Then I gained some weight and it was still super cozy. It'd get a break during the summer months, but tried and true, there it was, waiting for me each fall. Sometimes on hot days, I'd look at it hanging in the closet and think, oh, I just want to curl up in it, but it's 104 out and I can't. So believe it or not, I've had that sweatshirt since I was pregnant with my now middle schooler. What? And until recently, I still wore it all the time. Sure, it's lost its fuzziness, but it's still in great shape. It's amazing. And now, a year or so ago, I finally got a new giant sweatshirt. Single tear. Swinging back to my alma mater, my go-to comfy sweatshirt is now a bright orange Illinois sweatshirt, which was honestly sad at first to start wearing that instead of the maroon one. But after a dozen years, now my husband has finally been wearing the sweatshirt that I originally got for him anyway, right? So it's still definitely in the laundry rotation. It's a true family heirloom. If you want to see photos of the sweatshirt, check out Exhibit Smith on Instagram or Facebook, by the way. I've posted a collage. I went through a dozen years of photos to make it, so it's definitely worth a look. Okay, so believe it or not, this episode isn't just about a sweatshirt. Remember the task at hand? If a museum called and asked me to donate a garment to a museum that would represent me and my daily life, what would I choose? Would I choose the sweatshirt? Would it even occur to me that this humble garment that has been in the front row of my life for over a dozen years would be museum worthy? That's almost a quarter of my life. It was there when my kids were born. It was there snuggling pets who are no longer with us. It was there when I started my business. It was there when I was home alone working. It comforted me, just me and the sweatshirt. It's a University of Chicago sweatshirt, the school my husband was attending when we met. The school, the shirt still gets called out by people when I wear it in public. I'll hear, oh, the University of Chicago, that's a really good school. And then I sheepishly tell them that it's my husband's alma mater, not mine, because there was no way I was getting into UFC. But I digress, whatever. The point is, this garment defines my daily life experience so much better than, say, my wedding dress, or even, okay, let's say this sweet velveteen frock with the shimmery plaid bow that I wore to my 6th grade piano recital, which I also still have hanging in the closet. I mean, sure, that dress is beautiful and cute and old. Well, I guess vintage. Good grief. And it was a Christmas gift from my parents. But does that amount of provenance and the fact that it's in excellent condition really make it museum worthy or outweigh the baby goo covered sweatshirt? I mean, I didn't exactly grow up to become a concert pianist or anything. So my 6th grade recital dress really is not that big of a deal, right? So depending on the museum and its mission, and even the exhibition at hand, Museum quality and museum worthy can mean very different things. For example, art museums often lean toward the collection of rare, pristine works of art. History-focused museums often focus more on the artifact's story than its condition. Signs of wear and use can actually add to the item's, quote, value, intrinsic, perhaps not monetary, in that it helps to tell the artifact's story. This sweatshirt definitely fits into the latter category. So if I were curating an exhibit that featured garments from a select group of people, I would much rather display an old, worn-out shirt that's filled with stories than something that was just worn once. If I'm interpreting the person, I want the garment with the history. If I'm interpreting an artifact as an art piece, I'd be focusing on the maker, the design, the style, the materials, and I'd lean more toward the art museum approach and solicit garments by a particular designer rather than its owner and the experience the owner had in it. But as I said, every museum is different and every exhibit is even different. And as I end this episode, I encourage you to think about what items truly represent you. For they might not be the most glamorous or attractive thing in your home or in your closet. They might not be anything that you'd ever really want to put on display. But at their core, these are the things that are ever present in your daily life. These are the things that make you feel good, comfortable, warm, safe, familiar. They're the things that have always been there or feel like they always have. So what is important to you? What would best tell your story if that museum really did come calling? Spoiler alert, the museum has not yet come calling, despite how I started the episode, but I'm assuming you figured that out on your own. Hee hee. Anyhow, what would you choose? I would love to know. And I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. I invite you to subscribe to my podcast. And once again, you can see everything Exhibitsmith is up to at exhibitsmith.com, including grabbing yourself some free downloadable resources. Thank you for listening. I'm already looking forward to the next episode.